Hey everybody, GL1 here, and the video you're about to watch is a re-edit of a video I did 10 months ago. I've added close-ups and cut some things out, tightened it up a bit, and it's all about Beast Wars, being that the new Transformers Rise of the Beasts is out. I thought that maybe we should revisit this because a lot of you didn't watch it the first time, so here we go. Thanks for watching. Everybody, this is GL1 and welcome to another exciting edition of Toy Talkin' Stuff. Now, this is a collection of Beast Wars toys because a Transformers 7 Rise of the Beast is supposed to be coming out soon, but actually it's delayed a year. It was supposed to be coming out, I believe, June 24th of this year, which would be now, just about. And it's pushed back to June 9th next year. So, however, that's not going to stop us from talking about the toys, and hopefully you can review this again maybe before the movie comes out to refamiliarize yourself with the figures. We're going to start with the Decepticon versions. Those are the Predacons, and the Predacons are headed by Megatron, and his name is still Megatron, even though he is now a T-Rex, and whereas Optimus is Optimus Primal. So it's actually not Optimus, it's actually an ancestor of him. It's actually a predecessor. No, not predecessor, ancestor, right. Comes later. So, here we go. So this is Megatron in T-Rex form. Now, this is the new T-Rex, just came out several months ago, and it has a little bit better articulation than the older one. It's kind of got a softer rubber. He can turn his head back and forth, open his jaw in two different dimensions. You see that? It goes like that. In fact, we have the zoom, so we will zoom in here. All right. He's got the little arms that can go all directions. As we know, T-Rex has two fingers. And I once read something that these arms, they believe, were capable each together of curling 600 pounds. So they might be small, but they're still really powerful. And they can tell things like that based on tendon attachments and where the fulcrum, where the leverage is on how it pulls on the bone. It's got, you can turn the tail, he has, he can move his legs, he's got knees, he's got ankles. I mean, it's quite turn his leg in and out, quite a full functioning action figure of a T-Rex. And that, like I said, is a newer version. The first version that came out back in 1996, this is a 1996 version, and it does have, the arms can move around somewhat. It does have knees. I mean, it's a fantastic figure. He's got his back claw, and now the tail doesn't move around. What he does have is he's got you can put water inside this in here, and you can take this out. This comes out, and then you fill that up with water and snap that in. And then when you pull this out, it pulls a trigger and he squirts water. If that wasn't enough fun, he also has hip rocket or missile kind of thingies. So these pop out, then they can turn and then push a button, and if the missile were in there, which it's not, okay, well, but it would fire a missile. So this, I guess I'm going to have to look for the pieces of that. But that's okay because I have a backup plan. So this is what this Megatron looks like. This is the 10-year anniversary edition. They actually made the head a little bit more like the television show, but this has your hip missiles, boom, so they shoot out and they look like that. And there goes Cheetor, and okay, and all right. So, and he has actually also a little claw here. His tail turns into a claw, and you pull this back, and let's see, it's a lever. There, then you squeeze it forward and pull it back, and he can kind of do like a thing like that, right? And grab the figures. Has a ratchet in there, and there. So that's what he looks like that. Let's move this back a little bit. Okay. Yeah, and then he can bite you with his other hand, right? So that's the Megatron figure. And, you know, as I said, I don't really take the time to transform everything on the show, right? But what I can do is I can transform some things and show you what they look like after in pictures. But generally, this still ends up looking like that, just smaller. All right, so another Predacon is Scorponok, and he is a scorpion. And this is a pretty cool figure. Again, we're going to zoom in here, and you open up in here, and he has some weapons in there that actually can come out. And when he's in robot form, he can hold those, and you can see underneath, like that's his head, and then that's going to be his foot. He's going to have 2 feet that pop out, and then these are going to go to the back. But, you know, this is what he looks like in animal form. And so you see his 2 rockets that shoot out there, and then like a laser gun that shoots there. And he's got a movable tail, so he can sting ya. And so that's Scorponok. So I think he's pretty neat. Another Predacon is Inferno. Now, they are reissuing an Inferno out. I don't believe it has the clear, like kind of see-through-ish plastic. It didn't look like it did. But Inferno's kind of a pretty cool character in the show, and he's always calling Megatron. You push this here, and it's supposed to spin. It's hard because your fingers get in the way, but it's when he flies around, it's like a jet, and it flies like that. This also becomes a gun. You can see it has like what looks like, you know, it shoot bullets. So he's a fire ant, and he is always like an ant. He's always like, oh, must service the queen. So he keeps calling Megatron the queen, you know, his highness and everything, and you know, frustrating Megatron because he's like, look, I'm not a queen, but Inferno doesn't get the message. But anyway, that's some Beast Wars comedy. And another Predacon is Tarantulas, and I'm not, you know, Tarantulas is all right. So I wasn't like, oh, I got to have all the Tarantulae. So I just, and they pop off, and they pop on really easily too. I got the Transmetal. See how it has metal in his back and metal in the feet. I got the Transmetal version. I just waited until the Transmetal version came out, and I got that one. And I thought, you know, that's enough Tarantulas for me. Because for me, it was really not about collecting everything. It's about playing with them. And definitely one of the main characters of the show, and really pushing things forward a lot, is Waspinator. And Waspinator has lots of kooky, funny storylines happen to him, and this is what Waspinator looks like in Wasp form. And I got this as a special package. It came with Waspinator, and it came with some dump truck transformer, and I was looking for the missiles, and I'm like, you know, I can't stand it when I lose the missiles, and I'm looking for at least a couple of years for the missiles. And when I got this out and I said, well, I'm going to do the show, I then realized that the missiles are taped to the wing, and that's why I couldn't find them, because they were exactly where I did not want to lose them. So that is Waspinator in Wasp form, and there you are there. But Waspinator's quite a character in the show. I'm trying to think. It reminds me of Jetfire, or not Jetfire, no. Well, I can't remember. He becomes crowned, and I can't think of the name right now, but it is a Decepticon that is like second in command to Megatron, and I think Waspinator kind of takes on that character. So, a little bit of the transitory Predacons. There was a Predacon called Dinobot, which was a Raptor. And the first Dinobot that came out in the 90s was this one. And, you know, you can see it's got a raptor head. And we shall zoom in here. There you go. Zoom in on the raptor head. And the mouth opens. And, you know, it has like a shield that goes around the head, which was never part of the show. I was a little disappointed with this figure when it came out because it doesn't look like really that much like it did on the show. You push this in and that spins. Okay, and then that is the tail, and then this goes inside the tail and he has like a sword. Dinobot's to me one of the coolest characters on the show. He's kind of like their Wolverine, and I just didn't think that figure lived up to the CG that they had. So they made a deluxe version, and I got the deluxe version, and you can see the head's a little bit better on that, so a little bit more realistic. And this head looks a little bit more like Dinobot, and this is a little bit more realistic. And once again, we have this tail opens up into a shield. And this can go inside there and shoot as a missile. It doesn't spin, but you know, you can see it has like raptor stripes on it, and I was like, okay, well that's pretty good. You can see the raptor claws. That one's pretty good. But finally, for probably $31.99 if I remember correctly, I got this Dinobot, which came out sometime within the last year, and this one looks pretty much exactly like it does on the animated series, and you can see that up there. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So he's such a cool character in the show, so I think it was really great to do him the honor of giving him a good figure. Another very popular so he started out as a Predacon, but he rebelled against Megatron. He didn't like Megatron's underhanded, dishonorable way of doing things, so he joined the Autobots, or the Maximals, as they're called in Beast Wars. Another character that also was a Predacon and turned Maximal was Blackarachnia. And Blackarachnia is a spider, okay, and it's a Black Widow spider. And this is the one that you can get probably on clearance now. But this is the most recent one that's come out, and this is what it looks like in spider form. And it's about $20, but I've seen it clearance for like $9, $13. It's not an easy transformation, actually, to go from figure to spider. I thought it was pretty challenging, but it has great articulation. The legs articulate individually, and she has her bowcaster, her single arm bowcaster that she's got there. And what I also have, and I waited and waited and waited, is I have the Masterpiece edition of Blackarachnia, and that is this one here. It came with this wall mount and spider web, and this figure does look like this one when it transforms, just not as big and not as good, but very, very similar. So this is the Masterpiece Blackarachnia, and this is like $138.99 normally, but I found it for, I believe, under $40. So I think I paid like $38.99, and really happy to do so, of course. Excellent articulation. It has the joints are some kind of specification from Takara Tomy, the company that makes it, to be, to last many, many years, and just be super durable. There's like little metal pegs in there, and really well made. And actually, I find this one to be a little bit easier to transform than the less expensive one. So she also joined the Maximals, and she fell in love. Well, he fell in love with her, and she fell in love with him too because he would quit with Silverbolt. And if you'll remember from the Bald Eagle show, Silverbolt was a wolf with wings, and this is Silverbolt in maximal robotic form, and you can see there. And the day that I shot that show for the Eagle, I had this out on the table outside, and I'm so careful about missiles, and I hit one of the buttons and the missile shot off, and is outside, and there's lots of plants and foliage and mulch and everything, and I used my Spock-like from Star Trek, my Spock-like knowledge of trajectory. I calmed down and I thought, okay, where are the possibilities that it only could have gone? And I was able to find it very quickly. So I'm sure you're all happy to hear that. As we've seen before, and in our first episode that had to do with gorillas, right, and Optimus, Optimal Prime, the gorilla version, okay, of the Maximal. This is the Masterpiece Edition that we saw, okay, and Optimus Primal, okay, so many names, and basically when he transforms, he looks like this, okay. This is a pretty good version. This is a version that's come out within the last 2 years that looks similar to this one, but this one is, super high tech. Again, this is like a $150 figure, and I think now it's like $260 to get that. So I always wanted a really good, a version of this. The face even changes, so I had to get that. And a character that moves the storyline quite a bit on the show is Cheetor, and I do not have a regular transforming Cheetor. I got the RED version, which does not transform into the cheetah, but this is what he looks like in robot form, and this is really well articulated with double knee joints, full bending elbow joints, and hips and swivel in the thighs. So this is a really good figure. Now I do have a Transmetal Cheetor, which we'll eventually see, which I thought was cool. So I saved my money. Back then, we're talking 25 years ago, or even a little more. I didn't buy everything out there, and I still don't. So I was like, I like the Transmetal one version, version better, so I'll get that one instead. And I have a big version, which I know I got on clearance. It's like this big, of Cheetor. So I can show you that one day too, when we do a show eventually on big robots. So, all right. So Cheetor, also a Maximal, and if you'll remember, we have Tigertron. So remember, Tigertron was in robot form when we saw the show. Again, the show on Eagles, and the reason that I showed Tigertron there was because there was AirRaiser, which AirRaiser on that show was in Eagle form, right? So these two combine to form Tigerhawk, and Tigerhawk was in robot form when it was on the Eagle show, and now I transformed him into his Tigerhawk form. So it has this extra helmet that goes up like that. Let me bring this a little closer. And it's got a mouth that opens and a head that goes up and down. And these trigger, so you pull this trigger here, and those go forward, and you push this button, and it shoots out those feathers. And then these two, I'm not going to do it, but if you push these wings down, these rocket guns shift forward and shoot those missiles. Okay, so they will automatically shoot if I push the wings down. I have to keep it up like that. But that's, again, remember I had said this is definitely one of my favorite figures. It even has like a little place for like a tiny robot, like as if he's gigantic, that it could sit in there, and has a chair that swivels as it moves. So it'd be, you know, like sort of like if you're familiar with Voltron or Gundam, or even Power Ranger robots, where, you know, there's like a little fella that's inside, and this would be like a giant robot. So it gives you different ways to play with it. All right, a very popular character, or at least they wanted him to be popular, certainly had a lot of story, a lot of lines, was Rattrap. Now, this is the Transmetal Rattrap. I don't like rats. Not really. Maybe, you know, if they're brown and they have brown eyes, but the pink tail, not my thing, and certainly the red eyes, the white, not my thing. But, you know, hey, everybody has their thing, so, you know, love it if you love it. But I didn't want to get a lot of Rattraps because I'm not a big fan, so I waited till there was a cool Rattrap, and there was a Transmetal Rattrap, and that's the one I got. And this is his tail, and it becomes a weapon. And these are the wheels. You see how those spin there. And so when he's in machine mode, sort of, or actually mouse mode, he has wheels and he can like roll real fast. So that is Rattrap, and so another big character on that show. And the tech guy on the show is a rhinoceros named Rhinox. And this is the old version of Rhinox. This is Rhinox in robot form. And see, it has this protective helmet that goes around his head that was never in the show. So, you know, sometimes they would add little things to the robots that were not part of the show. And actually, this version of Megatron has a different head than this one. This is a lot like the original, what was in the show. The head on here is not quite as exact, and it also has another like shield that goes around. It's black and it covers its head. But this is so this is the Rhinox for that show, and it has a weapon like this. You push this trigger, and he has, you know, these like maces that spin, and he's got a sword. And you can see it's a rhinoceros. There's part of his head. Okay. Again, not a great figure, but a great character in the show. And so had to wait and wait and wait. And then they came out with a really great version of Rhinox. And this is what he looks like on the show. And you can see in detail here. My dogs are barking. So you can see here, it looks like a rhinoceros. So this is it's got squishy ears, squishy horn, but, you know, and he's got like, again, now this you push down there, and these spin, and they shoot like a machine gun in the show, and that's what that does. All right, let's see. Okay. And last is my very favorite character, and this is Depth Charge. And Depth Charge is definitely a Wolverine-like character. And the cool thing, it turns into a manta ray. All right, you can see that would turn into a manta ray. What's cool about Depth Charge is you pull this back here, and he shoots discs. Well, gotta do it. Well, and it's supposed to shoot discs. Shoot, there we go. All right, shoots discs, okay? Also, he's got a little buddy with him that is like a little shark, and if you push buttons on him, it'll shoot these two rockets off, okay? And let's see if I think where those are. Oh, they're here, right there. So those fire individually. So that is Depth Charge. I think it really is a cool figure. He even looks like Wolverine if you look at his face. Okay. So, but his character's a lot like Wolverine's. He take no prisoners, kind of, you know, not put up with anything. And, you know, he has an arch enemy that is a giant, like a giant scorpion, actually. And I forgot to bring that out. So I will take that out and I will put that in pictures at the end of the video. Okay, but Depth Charge and the other character, and I can't think of his name right now, I'll put the name there on him at the end of the show. But they have like the huge rivalry, and they're constantly fighting. And I know that that character has a number for a name as well. So, but I'll look that up and find that out for you. But anyway, so that's just a quick little Beast Wars, you know, get to know your Beast Wars. Guys, so I found this other character that was Depth Charge's enemy, and he called it X, and its other name is Rampage. And I wanted to do it justice by showing it to you because it's a really cool figure. So it's a crab, and what it has is it has a rubber wheel underneath here that when you roll it, it shoots the missiles. So it'll well, it's supposed to spin, and the trigger is supposed to hit like that, hits the mouth parts. So as the wheel spins, it's, you know, sometimes these things don't really operate perfectly. Ah, there you go, and it shot another one. So you get some pressure on it. So that when it moves is supposed to shoot the missiles. Also, it has treads, and it has these rubber treads in here that fold up inside the claws. Okay, and it actually is a triple transformer. It transforms into like a robot guy, and it transforms into a vehicle. So these all open up, and the legs pull out of the way, and you see how you can run the tread over these over here, and then you stretch the tread over it. I'll show you. There's a picture that I can show you that shows the 3 different transformations. On the bottom here, you can see that there's his legs and his feet fold out, and underneath, tucked inside, the gun comes out, and he can hold this when he's in robot form. And then you see here's his head. So I have to, you know, do a whole transformation. But anyway, it's a really cool transformer. It's pretty big. You know, at the time it probably was like $25 or something, but something like this would be a lot more now. It's like a transmetal, because you see it has like the shiny metallic metal on it. So anyway, I just didn't want you to miss out on that. And anyway, that is the end of the show. See you later.